Sideline of goal! Late Winners doing it! They're gonna take it! He's gonna bring down Burning. Alone with a double kill. Dropping fast. Bonavoid's there. He's still alive! Wait, seconds left. He's got one side. He's got a second. He's taking it out. They're overtime on three! They're all dead!
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Summit 2 by G2A.com. We've got the American playoffs today. Dakota! Woo! Whoa, what's going on, man?
Woo! I just woke up, but I'm excited. I have been excited. I've been looking forward to this for a long while. We finally get to find out the last team that's going to be fighting their way through and getting to the Summit House, and we're finishing off with good old America. In our first matchup, it's going to be the Complexity, the top seed, going against their choice opponent, which is going to be the Leviathan squad. Leviathan were the team that did beat them. Their one loss in the group stage with the unorthodox Jungle Pudge.
That Pudge, man. That Jenkins Pudge, you got to watch out for it. But as we'll see here, maybe it's a good segue into the draft. First ban Pudge. That's a little bit of respect if I ever saw it.
Well, based on my assumption on how that game went, because I distinctly remember that game, it was just a clear image of a Complexity squad that had got stomped that game, which was very uncharacteristic for a team and how they performed the rest of the group stage. A team that had showed a lot of dedication to the game. They came together in LA in like a mini boot camp session. They put a lot of effort towards the, it was just so crazy to see them get manhandled like that from such an unorthodox lineup. So maybe taking Complexity, putting them outside their comfort zone, something for more teams to look forward to. So what they do, they ban out that Pudge, they ban out that Troll, they ban out these picks that they're not familiar with, allowing Leviathan to pick up the old standard. They take their first pick advantage and they grab the Brew.
10 seconds
and
remaining.
Complexity fire back with their Ember Spirit Skywrath Mage, which, hey, Z-Freak loves the Skywrath Mage, so there's no doubt they're going to get that if they can. And both Swindle and Moon can play a pretty good Ember Spirit.
Yeah. Both teams with pretty solid openers. Ancient Apparition for Leviathan, a little bit different. We don't see second pick AA all that often, but they may have a plan here.
Yeah.
Maybe a Faceless Void could be coming out. Not the most synergy with Brewmaster, but could certainly work. This is a best-of-3 series, also worth mentioning here. So this is the winner's bracket. This is the semifinals, so no elimination matches today. We've got 3 days straight up of Summit America playoffs, and today is the fun day, the day where people go home maybe a little sad, but they're still in it, still have a chance to come back tomorrow. So we'll have Complexity versus Leviathan, then our second matchup today will be Not Today versus Navi America.
Yeah,
so
we get to see everyone. It's good. Every day you probably get to see a little bit of everything. It's good. No heartbreak today. Tomorrow, though, we're going to have to break some hearts. Some people might have to be going home. Their Summit life could be over. And on Friday, we'll find out exactly what team's going to be making it all the way to the house. So
yeah, now I have to admit, before we get back into this draft, man, the Complexity guys, I bumped into them at the BlizzCon and Twitch party this past weekend, and talk about a dedicated group. I knew they were boot camping. I saw that post they had on Reddit about the team house, but pretty damn serious team, man. We might have a serious contender in North America in a couple months if they keep on practicing the way they are.
I think more teams should be putting more dedication into their play and practice. And, what we've already seen through the rest of the division is a lot of uncertainty. We've seen constant stand-ins throughout most of the teams, some stand-ins that might have even been used through multiple teams. But, I don't know. It's good to see. It's a breath of fresh air to see one team that's actually dedicated to the game, dedicated to working together and putting the time and effort in, and it clearly shows. This team comes out top of the group stage. They get what they want as far as who they want to face in the playoffs, and if they make it all the way, it just shows that time and effort has gone to good use.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And look at that, you called it. There's Faceless Void. I mean, seeing an Ancient Apparition grab like that already raises a red flag. I mean, he's not a direct counter to anything on the side of Complexity. Maybe if there was a Necro, a Wisp, a Mech Holder, someone who really utilizes Sustain, then you grab him as a counter. But if you're not, then you're probably thinking of something for yourself, which Faceless Void's going to be right there with. Hell, they could still get a hold of something else like a Necro, just knowing that they already took that Ancient Apparition and put it on their side.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at second supports to pair with the AA, really like mixing a Stunner with Ancient Apparition. It's like one of those supports that has a lot of power, but he doesn't do much in the way of crowd controls. We've seen some teams experiment around with that Ancient Apparition Veno combo, and towards the late game it can be pretty potent, but Leviathan, I actually only got to cast a couple of their games in the group stage. I'm glad I got to see at least one of the Jenkins Pudge games. I know what that ban is all about, but yeah, I guess they could think about a Lich if they really want to build around the Void. Looks like Well, hard to say. He could be the safe laner or off laner. So maybe their carry, or maybe just
Weaver would be a good
chrono.
carry.
Yeah.
Weaver has some pretty good synergy with Ancient Apparition in the early game with that chilling touch. He can also contribute from the outside of the Chronosphere that Faceless Void sets up. And all the meanwhile, you got someone like Brewmaster, and it's not just a Brewmaster, it's Shibi's Brewmaster, so he's going to be the bouncer of the mid game. You know, looking to build up early in that mid game, get to the level 6, get a hold of a Blink Dagger in a refreshing period of time, and being able to control the pace and the tempo. That way, Weaver has his own time to find the farm. Then later in the game, Weaver makes his debut. He really gets into the nitty gritty, and well, Leviathan are looking to kind of take it home from there. For complexity, though, now they build up that extra bit of sustain. This is a Treant being picked into AA, so Living Armor could be a bit of the question, as long as he gets in the right spot. But, you know, it is Tree, so in the early game is, I guess, where Living Armor could be most crucial. I mean, that skill alone could save you from our first blood. So as long as he's got his wits about him as far as being able to be the observer, they're a team that works together. I'm sure they'll make the call-outs when necessary. He'll be right there in aid. But that's not going to be, unless he gets that magical early rune, that dang haste, let's say, you know, he's not going to be looking at a lot of first blood action.
Yeah, I would say certainly not.
5 seconds remaining.
An interesting pick, though. Both teams really lacking on the push in general right now. There isn't really just a true pushing hero. So that tends to be an environment where the Treant will shine when you're doing a little bit of chip damage, when it's not so easy to take out a tower in one fell swoop.
Remaining.
That's where that Living Armor can really delay pushing. But Leviathan, they settle on Disruptor for their second support and fourth pick. Not bad with the Void. Does some pretty decent damage. Can set up for Chronos. And a pretty aggressive team. You look at AA, Brewmasters, there's a lot of chase, a lot of gap closing, especially with the Void there. So Glimpse can be a pretty powerful tool. And the other teams in retreat get those stray pickoffs. So I do like it. We don't see Disruptor all that much, though. Really good against the Ember Spirit and both the battle.
Disruptor, it's more like a niche pick from time to time. As far as counters, you'll go against the Wisp. We used to see a lot against Tinker when he was played.
Radiant
pretty fairly utilized against the Bat Rider as a counter. With, you know, it could definitely disorient him a bit with the Glimpse. But I think they're looking more just getting that Static Storm, putting it right inside the Chrono Bubble right afterward. Just kind of synergizing their bit of team fight that they already got. And the Silence does work pretty nicely against someone like an Anti-Mage who was just picked up, but there it is. It's going to be the AM for the hardcore late game carry. That's got to be Moon Meander's hero, it looks like. That means it'll be a mid lane Swindlemelon's Ember Spirit.
Probably, yeah. I agree with you, though. I look at Disruptor as a pretty good hero against Anti-Mage. You've got a Silence, which AM absolutely hates, Glimpse, and I was thinking about the Bat Rider as well. Now there's this sort of array of heroes that Complexity have drafted that Disruptor, if he catches them off guard, hits them with a Glimpse into a static field, kinetic field static storm. What do you do against that? You know, Bat Rider and Anti-Mage usually very elusive, but if you're silenced and stuck in the field, then you're feeling the pain, man.
Well, Complexity are probably like, well, that's if they get a hold of me. And I think Moon's going to channel his like inner EE and just try to farm out of control, use the mobility to just try to get from one camp to the other, and that's going to test Leviathan as far as being one step ahead, knowing exactly where this aim is going to be on the map, what's the kind of common ground as far as he's going to be going for farm. He'll probably be around this area. Let's go ahead and smoke. Let's go check out the jungle, and let's take care of him. And let's try to add some pressure in the early laning phase. But the problem is for a lot of the heroes on the side of Leviathan is they can't do a whole lot in the early game until they get those levels. That's one of the downsides to someone like a Disruptor. He's got a lot of great utility, a lot of great skills where you maybe don't need a whole lot of items, but you do need the levels. You need to have a big level glimpse so you can catch him from afar. Your Thunder Strike, you can leave at level 1, let's say, just so you get the extra bit of vision, but you need to get a hold of the Static Storm more importantly so you can lock anyone down and being able to do that big damage. I
mean, that's one of the big issues with getting a support duo like AA and Disruptor, both of them very hungry for experience, and whoever's in that position 5 has to be sacrificed a little bit. So do you delay the Static Storm and levels on Glimpse? Do you delay the Ice Blast from AA? It's a tough call, whereas Complexity, they've got the Treant who is pretty happy just sitting back and slowly leeching the experience. But here we go. Slardar, the final pick for Leviathan. And wow, that was a fast load. But always fun to see the Slardar come out to play.
Just seems like Leviathan love to at least get that one kind of a pick that's just thinking outside the box a little bit. And they get the Slardar here. It's a carry, shredder, Slardar as well. Leviathan just continue to show that they just have that unorthodox kind of a lineup style, whereas Complexity, very straight shooter, straight to the point. You look at their lineup, you know what the game plan is going to be here, but regardless, we're going to get underway here. Leviathan taking on Complexity. Leviathan had taken down Complexity during the round robin, but Complexity have opted to select Leviathan as their pick for the first round. They're feeling confident about this one. It's a best of 3. Winner will move on to the semis.
Yeah, Complexity about 62% favorites on Dota 2 Lounge, so favorites, but actually not by a huge amount. I would say that that's a value bet for Complexity. Limp, he'll clear out some trees here, breaks the smoke of Leviathan, and they will be completely revealed. So it looks like Complexity will be able to dodge this invade.
30 seconds to battle.
Z-Freak might need to be a little careful here. First point is not in Glimpse. He's got a kinetic field, but Z-Freak just a little too speedy. Kinetic field will come out. Will actually catch Z-Freak inside. Moon Meander coming around the backside. This is turning into sort of an awkward fight to start things off. Bloody Nine comes out with the Leech Seed. Now the rest of LVT come in. They want Moon, but a little too elusive with that blink. And it doesn't look like they'll be able to find Z-Freak. This Skywrath Mage just too damn speedy with that 325 base movement speed.
Leviathan are a team that love to roam early. If they can get a first blood, they'll go for it. They have AA already on their team, so that just sets up an easy formula that if we can get a hold of someone, we'll go for the kill. We got Chilling Touch to bring out the right click, but they don't want to go that heavy movement for nothing. They put down a couple of wards. They block 2 different camps, but Z-Freak sees it. He already is going to counter one of the wards. That one will not see the secondary camp, so the pull-through camp is going to be blocked. So Leviathan do get a little bit of something out of it, but they are now late on returning to the lanes. Both their mid will just get there, but top lane they have a long way to go. And this is a little bit of time for Limp to just take advantage of that first wave.
Yeah, pretty good for the offlaner. Batrider, his first big milestone is finding that level 2. That's when he can retreat to the jungle and actually farm some camps. Looks like he won't even get a creep kill's worth of experience before they make it to lane. So not too much lost here. We'll pick up 1 right as Slardar slithers his way in. I do want to mention once more, this is a best of 3, folks. That's my bad. Game 1 here, we don't have the little empty tallies, but there will be at least 1 more game in the series, possibly even a 3rd.
All right, look at this bottom lane. Faceless Void knows he's just in a one-on-one matchup temporarily with AM because Z-Freak's been out doing D-ward duty here, trying to remove as many wards as possible from these camps. He's already got 1 stack going, and Tree's kind of doing his own thing going with the pull, so he's trying to take advantage in the lane and manhandling Moon Meander a little bit with the right clicks, but that's only for now. Soon enough, that Tree's going to rotate back, and Z-Freak's going to look to go on the move, so he's just going to get what he can while he can. Yeah. And Limp, who has already gotten some stuff out of the offlane, is now already heading towards that jungle where the camps have been stacked for him, so Complexity showing that they're working together as a single unit, and the supports are helping out their offlaners. The offlaners are helping out them supports.
Yeah, man, Shibby really putting it to Moon Meander in the mid lane. That's just a thunderclap and a crit. Takes him down past half health, forced to chew it through a tango. And yeah, Shibby kind of being this bully here in the mid lane, but everything looking fairly even out of the gate. Now, with this laning phase, I think Moon Meander should be pretty well off just to go straight into a Battle Fury here. Once the support's going to come back into lane, he should be able to farm well. I'm a little surprised to see that no one in lane just zoning out the Void. That's one thing that they're not doing at all, where Jenkins getting some decent experience here, almost finds his level 3. And already, Limp will just abandon the offlane. He grabs his level 2, gets this big stack here, and he starts stacking up the sticky.
Yeah, it's interesting because typically Skywrath Mage is one of the best as far as supports for being able to zone out offlaners no matter who they are, but Z-Freak's opted to be the kind of the jungle guy who's kind of making the stacks there. It looks like he might even hang around and just leave some of the XP to help a bit, and he's just going to leave Bloody Nine with those kind of duties on the bottom lane. And, you know, we didn't talk about much in the draft, but the last pick here for Leviathan, the Slardar. I'm really curious what their plan is with this, what they're going to be able to contribute. I mean, you do have a Chronosphere on your team, and Slardar really can't do a whole lot with that Chrono. But before, after, what he gets on the outside certainly can bring a big impact, especially if he gets a lot of this good farm early, which he is.
Yeah.
He's got top CS, 17 and 3, but I just hope the synergy would work out for Leviathan as far as team fight.
You make a really good point. That's where a hero like Gyrocopter really shines with Void. He's range, he does AoE damage, and can really mess up a team if they clump up and get stuck in a Chrono. Slardar and Brew both don't really have that. Sure, you've got the Brew split, and that has some synergy with the Void, but actually, speaking of Devil, mid lane, we'll see a first blood. Z-Freak draws it as Moon sets it up, and Brew actually gets a return kill on the Brewmaster as he takes a few too many tower shots. So it does make it a 1-for-1, but an obvious advantage for Complexity there is they get all the XP and a favorable gold exchange.
Yeah, definitely Complexity just happy to get that first blood. Z-Freak will take advantage of the mid lane while his Swindle Melon's partner is out and just get a little bit of solo XP, but Shibby immediately returns. Swindle Melons immediately gets his own return and even shares a bit of that bottle with Z-Freak. So it is Complexity, though, who do strike first, so the momentum already starts on their side. And we'll have to see where it takes us from here. I was expecting both teams to be relatively quiet in the early game. It just seemed like they both needed a lot of levels before they can make any sort of team impact. Both the supports are not being too aggressive as far as harassment, except for Z-Freak there in the mid lane, but it's more focused on trying to build up that farm so that when the mid game does roll around, we have everything we can ask for to make a big team fight impact.
Yep, most definitely. So 4 minutes in, some runes coming out. Brewmaster grabs himself a bounty, and Swindle actually out-farming him a little bit here. 18 to 13 in terms of last hits. Void 9-1 finds himself in the invisibility rune, and already halfway through level 4. This experience he's finding is fabulous. Moon Meander, though, racking up the last hits, about 4 behind that of the Slardar. Has his boots, his poor man's shield, about 900 gold. We'll probably see him pick up his ring of regen here. Yep, there you are. So Jenkins just loving this invisibility rune down here, though. He's just leeching up that XP and really not having a care in the world right now.
Yep, can't put too much of a threat, unfortunately, on your AM, but he'll get what he can. And as an offlaner, he's not doing too shabby. He's 10-1 on that Faceless Void. He's about to be level 5. Though someone like Batrider, who has the luxury of just being able to ditch his lane and go to the jungle, he is what, 23 CS? Tremendous amount of CS for your Batrider, even though he's not doing a whole lot in the lane. They just know they need him to get that farm, and once he gets that Blink Dagger, then they can control the tempo and be able to lead off some kills early on with the lockdown.
Yeah, down bottom, Jenkins takes a lot of damage from Moon Meander. Bloody 9 coming in with a Leech Seed ready, but won't be able to connect. And Moon's drained all of his mana, and once all that mana's gone, the mana break just doesn't hurt so much. Moon is going for a mana break primary build here. 1 point in the attributes and 2 points in mana break.
Ooh, they're making it go on Swindle mid lane.
Interesting, yeah.
Kinetic field's dropped. Swindle puts out the Remnant, but doesn't jump to it just yet. Feeling pretty confident here that nothing's going to be really coming his way. And now the return Z-Freak shows up, and immediately the Primal Split's going to have to come out. Swindle gets locked down with a rock, and they do take him down. A little over-arrogance there, I'd have to say, from Swindle, thinking they can get it done with Z-Freak, but I guess they didn't count on the Primal Split, and they pull it out, and they're able to lock him down before he can even Remnant across the river.
Yeah, I like the thought there to try and turn it around and, you know, sort of fake them out almost, bait. Bloody 9 down bottom. He's about to die to a tower. Pops a smoke to dodge it. A clutch play, but a close call at that. Complexity coming down. Jenkins will finish him off as Moon Meander has Jenkins locked into a corner here, but I'm not sure he's going to win this fight. He gets bashed Mana Void. Oh, Moon will find the kill. Now he goes forward onto Sunken. He will get glimpsed back almost enough to save him. Swindle comes flying in. He'll get the kill on the Disruptor, and now going on to Shibby, looking for some vengeance. Finds a living armor, but won't be able to secure the kill. An awkward exchange, but it looks like Complexity will get the better of it.
Yeah, they'll get a nice thing out of that. The AM
is actually pretty even.
Pick up a kill, but they do take down 2 at the end of it on the side of Complexity. Actually, no, it is 2 for 2. They did lose Bloody 9, so it's more of just a hot mess, and I guess it leads to kind of a stalemate. But Moon had to get involved. Mid lanes had to get involved. Top lane, though, you got 2 from Leviathan that are still patient farming, and you know, this Slardar could become quite a nuisance real quick if Complexity don't do anything about it whatsoever. He does already have his power treads. I imagine he's going to blitz forward to getting a hold of a Blink Dagger sooner than later.
Yeah. Yep, I'm a little surprised that he did go power treads here, though. He would have his Blink already, and since they removed the mana cost, you don't really need the treads to rotate the mana. You still have some mana issues, but treads are usually for more of like when Slardar is struggling a little bit in lane, when he's, you know, taking a lot of damage, wants to be able to skirmish. And here, he's just been left completely uncontested, and that's, you know,
probably part of the reason he didn't go immediately for Blink. He's like, I can just forecast that I'm going to get enough farm that I can get both, and I'll be fine. I can use the power treads for additional farm and toggling, I guess, just in case. I mean, but
it's true, but they don't know where this Batrider's been. They haven't seen Limp. They don't know how close he is to a Blink Dagger, but when a Bat's been missing off the map like this, you've had support stacking. You would expect 8-9 minutes as a realistic blink timing, and if Slardar doesn't have his Blink Dagger before Batrider, that opens up a window where if Batrider can find his first smoke gank on the Slardar, all that unreliable gold slows down your Blink Dagger, and then you get that inverse snowball going. So I think it is a little bit of a gamble from the Slardar not to get the blink when he has the opportunity. He's not a hero known for his farming capabilities.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Complexity can take advantage of that first blink gank attempt from their Batrider, and if Leviathan will have their wits about him as far as the estimated time frame on when this Bat could be looking to gank, and what kind of eyes they'll have on the map as far as seeing that movement come their way. So Shibby scouts out bottom. There's a bounty rune down there. The regen was top. It was picked up from Swindle Melons, and they'll go toe-to-toe once more in this mid lane. Your leading CS still belongs to your Slardar at 52, but look, I mean, Batrider, the highest on Complexity's team, Limp, you know, ever since he ditched the offlane, has been finding tremendous amounts of farm in that jungle. He's just 100 away from Blink. He'll have it after this camp. And for bottom lane, Moon Meander, 44 and 18, lots of denies here on your anti-mage, and now he's beginning to bully out this Faceless Void.
Yeah, he's farming very well. And Batrider in the jungle has opened up a little bit of space for the supports to kind of rotate to and fro,
Radiant's
but it's mostly been a
top tower is under
1v1. Down
attack.
bottom, Moon picking up the power tread, so making sure he has some early stats and ready to fight early. Grabs a second point in the attributes, goes a second point in Blink, a value point in Spell Shield. So just sort of a good, well-rounded anti-mage build here. A
Radiant
little bit of
structures
everything.
are fortified.
So it looks like Leviathan, they're going to go ahead and use their 3 to push down. The Glyph has already been popped. They'll get a hold of the first structure of the game, this tier 1 top. And
Or will they? Living armor.
Oh, Glimpse, though. They catch up with Z-Freak, and they get a hold of him. They put him right in a cage. Mystic Flare is not going to aid you in this one, my friend, but he does hide in the corner, and they get a rotation from Swindle. They ultimately take down Z-Freak, but can Swindle get a return kill? He can. It's going to be 2 supports for 1. Advantage complexity. So
And the tower's still alive.
and they
That
don't
living armor
even get
saved
the
it.
tower.
Dire's
Oh my
bottom
goodness. Bloody
tower
Nine
is
pulling
under
up that little
attack.
bit of sustain on the structure. And now Leviathan commit a lot and don't get as much for it.
Yeah, Trian's found his level 3, or pardon me, level 5. That's a 3rd point in the living armor, and that makes it pretty damn potent. Absorbs 6 instances of damage, and
Radiant's
that
middle
started that
tower is under
turnaround.
attack.
Jenkins in the tree line, though.
Dire's
Chronosphere at the
bottom
ready. They
tower
find
is
Limpy.
under
It's hit with a slithering crush after the amp damage has come out, and
Still up
Batrider.
Chrono leads forward. Can they get it on Swindle before he gets away? They do, but Shredder unfortunately is caught in it.
Oh no,
So-
Shredder, he's burning down to the Flame Guard. Swindle gets an easy kill. Now Jenkins, he's going to find himself in trouble. Searing Chains, nowhere to go, and Swindle gets the 2-for-none turnaround.
Wow.
Down in the bottom lane, Moon Meander might be in a bit of a sticky situation as he gets clicked down, overcommits, and will pay for it.
That is nice for Leviathan. They are able to grab that prized AM on the bottom lane in exchange, but they had lost a lot in the top lane. You're talking 4 casualties all day in this top lane. The 2 supports go down while they're making the advancement for
Dire's
that tier
middle
1
tower
tower, and
is
now
under
they lose
attack.
both of their cores, at least their offlaner and their Slardar. Oof, that is devastating. Swindle picks up both of those kills. He's got his drums now.
Ooh.
He's off to a really good pace.
This is really scary, seeing a Ember Spirit doing this well 11 minutes in. Full drums, 500 gold to boot. They're just eyeing up Shredder here, doing the math, and they are ready to make it rain. Only has 1 Fire Remnant, and no, he will TP back mid. Not going to find the opening that they were.
Oh, they
hoping
want to
for.
blink lasso. They got it. And they take down Shibby before he gets the burst off. Why do I even question? They got Mystic Flare right there and plenty of burst coming in from your Swindle.
That Ancient Seal locking him down.
Makes it so easy. Skywrath Mage, Arch Nemesis,
Dire's
Brew.
middle
Just
tower
that
is
quick
under attack.
silence, instant cast from such long range, plus the Mystic Flare burst.
Dire's
There's really
middle
not much your
tower
Panda can
has
do once he's
fallen.
caged up.
Yeah, really your ideal support to try and deal with them. Silences in general, but that's Skywrath Silence. Boy, is she potent. Jenkins, he's headed back down bottom. Gone for Aquila, Orb of Venom, just some value items, but still hasn't too much to his name. Just glancing at the overall state of
Radiant's
items,
top
looking a
tower
little bit
is
more
under
scary
attack.
for the Radiant. LVT now have 2 Blink Daggers. Shredder did manage to pick up his on Slardar, and Shibby 1, 2, and 1. Hasn't had a great early game on the Brew, but it's been good enough that he's at least found that initiation tool. So we'll see what a Leviathan can do with it. Blink Daggers this early on, certainly useful, but they'll put him to good use. Moon just barely lives, not going to shatter here.
Nope, and they jump forward. They think that Moon actually goes south, but he doesn't. He goes off. Shredder catches up. Blink Slash. Your Moon Meander AM is going to go down. Nice setup from the start from your AA with that Ice Blast. Shibby follows it up, but it is going to be Shredder who cleans up, grabs that kill. Leviathan find another on that AM who's trying to throw together a battle fury to
Radiant's
accelerate the
bottom
farm, but he's
tower
going to
is
be
under
put back
attack.
1 notch. And now we're evened up.
Dire's
8
middle
to 8
tower
at
is
about
under
12
attack.
minutes, 30 seconds into this one. The net worth still an advantage of complexity, a little over 3K. We'll have to see where things develop as we get ready to approach the mid-game. The level 6s are all starting to come online. Tier 1 towers are now starting to be
Radiant's
threatened.
bottom
We're going to see
tower
some big
is
team
under
fights here
attack.
momentarily, I'd imagine.
Yeah, bottom tier 1 tower will go down.
Radiant's
Glyph still
bottom tower
cooling
has
as they
fallen.
never got it reset from that top tier 1 defense. Living Armor doing everything it can, but alas, Leviathan will find the first tower kill of the game, for their side at least. They've already lost their tier 1 mid, but does all things out a little bit on the gold graph, now down to about 2,500 in favor of complexity. But Shredder, he blinks back, Swindle catches him, hits him with chains, will get stunned in return, and out comes that living armor to keep him safe. And I will say that Slardar, very strong hero against Ember, who is not known for his armor. You see that -10. That really hurts. And this guy's taking a lot of damage from those physical attacks.
No, certainly. If they are able to get a hold of him, imagine the synergy together with your amp damage, and then Faceless Void can kind of round it up with some big right click. That certainly works out, but I can't help but kind of default back. You're talking about 3 cores on Leviathan team that are all 3 melee, and you have a Chronosphere. So once he gets that set up, there's really not a whole lot that the outside is going to contribute, with the exception of your AA and your Disruptor. So I hope that doesn't prove to be troublesome in the late game when they're just trying to get a hold of one person. They can't burst them down in time, because you might be trying to burst down someone like your Ember Spirit, and if you can't get it done in the time of the Chronosphere, he could just end up remnanting away before the other 2 can get anything in. So I just can't help but feel like that seems a bit awkward. We'll have to see if maybe they can prove me wrong and they can put together some good
It seems
team
like
fights.
Leviathan are almost more just relying on their catch potential. With 2 Blink Daggers, your Void, and then your Disruptor, they're going to be able to chase pretty far. So I think they're hoping for these kind of broken up team fights where they can use their power in numbers, kind of find little pickoffs here and there, and get them on the defensive right away rather than look for one of those full-blown 5-on-5 run into our Chrono. But I mean, how well is that going to work out? That relies on Complexity to give them those openings to either get picked off or, you know, not have good catch potential of their own, which they certainly do with an Ember Spirit and a Bat Rider.
I mean, they got 3 badass cores who have 3 great initiations. But as far as how those badasses can work together is another question. We'll have to see, as 2 of them here in the mid lane looking to push. They want to take down this tier 1 in the mid lane. They got the bottom one. The top one that they almost took is now above half life, as Blade Nine's been doing in the bit of overtime to try to heal it all the way back up, that pesky tree. And he's currently using that living armor on this mid tier 1 to just try to bring it up a little bit more, because it looks like Complexity are going to go for a trade themselves. They already take down the tier 1 in the top lane. That is going to go not to anyone, actually. Swindle did not get the last hit on that, but they're going to press on forward here, and I think Leviathan see this is happening and might consider pulling back from the mid lane, because they still have a lot of work to do on this mid-tier 1 tower. Yeah,
they definitely do, and they won't even push into it. Instead, it's Complexity. They're rotating through the jungle. Limp, he's invisible from that. Nature's Guys finds Nushi, and that'll be a lasso. Easy kill on Frosty. He does get off an Ice Blast before he goes down. In comes the Cavalry. Shibby's there, but gets silenced before he can split. Skywrath Mage with the ultimate does a lot of damage. Brew lives. Bloody Nine and Swindle caught inside of the Chrono. They live for now, but now Shredder will cut down the tree. Swindle silenced, can't make it out. And it will be a 1-for-2 trade as Leviathan punished the aggression from Complexity.
There's a bit of synergy there. You saw it. I mean, they caught him out in the jungle. It led off with Bat Rider getting the nice pick off there on your AA, but if you're losing a lot on the way out, including your Swindle Melon Blue, it's not quite worth it. And it was a bit awkward there at the start. Shibby made the jump in, and as he was making the call of the split, it was a fantastic quick silence coming out from Z-Freak, but it did not stop your Faceless Void from getting off that nice Chrono. Given he's the only one partaking in the damage, Shredder was right there at the ready to follow up with a stun of his own. Disruptor did lay down the static field, which we were expecting for them to be able to kind of lay on top of each other. And it ended up working out enough. So it's good to see that. I mean, Leviathan now take that bit of advantage, and they segue themselves into the Roche pit, and they're going to duke it out with the big bad boy.
Yep, absolutely, and something we didn't mention in the draft, but always a cause for concern with the Slardar. Amp damage makes Roche easy peasy lemon squeezy. They'll chomp him down before Complexity can even react.
It's a level 2 amp damage to that.
Yeah, all that beautiful minus armor. So that'll be great. Aegis of the Immortal in the inventory of Mr. Shredder on the Slardar, who's also working on his Black King bar, only about 500 gold off, and sunken on the Disruptor, more than halfway to that Aghanim Scepter. Yeah, he may get ganked here.
Ooh, they see him now.
Got it on quick buy. Get your items, sir, because you're in trouble.
Rotating.
Nope, won't be able to buy his Ogre Club. All right, well, I take that back. Less than halfway to his Aghanim Scepter.
And now they're going to go for a push down here. There was a tier 1. People could have rotated, but, you know, it's just a Disruptor after all who's going to get caught out. They're going to wait instead. But it's Leviathan here that are starting to congregate. They don't have a Chrono yet. They still need another 25 seconds. Shibby does have his split at the ready. And, of course, they also have that Aegis on their side. But it looks like...
Oh, double damage on Limp, though. He gets some mana, thinking about the blink. No lasso for another minute. So
Shredder's also mid lane. He does have a TP, but he's still just working on his farm elsewhere. And it looks like he might be going for a BKB. He actually has it in about 1 or 2 more creep kills. You're going to have a BKB Slaughter on your hands.
Yeah, always a force to be reckoned with. Now, Complexity do have the lasso to try and deal with it, but... I think the real takeaway here is that Complexity have been...
on Shredder.
Shredder gets flame broken, and he'll get silenced. Yeah, okay.
No lasso now. Okay.
Be a waste of the
Arcane Bolt.
Ooh, maybe he can live. He does have Sprint on, so remember, this will do a little extra damage.
I don't know, dude. It's close.
It's going to be a close one. Shredder, that'll be the end of the Aegis.
Your Aegis is down from the longest lingering Arcane Bolt you could hope for.
Yep.
Do they know that,
course
though?
not.
Do you envision Arcane Bolt while it's going that long?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I'm not sure, though.
They're going to see it in his inventory that's missing.
Yeah,
At
yeah, you'll be
time
able
he
to
pops
see it.
up. Oh, that's unfortunate. You want to be putting better use out of your Aegis, trying to go for a big push with it and having that advantage of allowing your Slardar to kind of go off the rails and have no consequences. But now that's not going to be reality, and now Leviathan have to do it the good old-fashioned way, trying to push down this mid lane.
Yep, they will group up as 5. All their
middle
cooldowns
tower is
available,
under
so ready to commence the team fighting. But the point I wanted to make before that gank is Complexity are doing a really good job fighting, defending, and staying aggressive, holding onto their lead, while Moon Meander has been farming. He hasn't completed Battle Fury now. He's just been cruising around the jungle, being very efficient with his path, and that's where I think Complexity has such an edge here. They're able to fight and farm, getting the best of both worlds. Leviathan, they'll group up for a tier 1 tower. Glyph has come out, and it looks like Complexity will just let her go down. Some space made for Moon. Swindle's pushing top, so they'll be okay with trading that access point while their carries farm in the side lanes. Limp maybe going to try to catch a straggler. Find Shredder, showing off that Fort Staff. Silence into Mystic Flare. They force out the BKB. Connects with a stun, but hey, look who's joined the party. It's Big Bad Moon Meander. Z-Freak just barely survives. Slardar's gone down, now Sunken coming in. The urn will keep Z-Freak alive as Sunken gets taken down. He does end up getting a kill on the Skywrath, so it's a 1 for 2. But again, Complexity just finding a great exchange. The fucking Archer.
I'm glad that they got Moon Meander involved in that. It was an easy pickoff for them and for him to take advantage of. And I mean, you're right. The nice thing is that for the most part, Complexity has been kind of going at these recent battles and skirmishes at a disadvantage of not having the AM there, but that's going to prove to be much profitable later into the game if he's finding all that farm you could ask for. And Battle Fury now complete. He gets involved in that kill. It looks like he spent just a bit of gold recently, and he's going to go right for the Vlad's. Yep, Vlad's is complete. And it's going to be on the way towards them, and they're getting a lot out of it, while Leviathan, their late game potential, had just got taken down.
Yeah, now Swindle, he's got his Battle Fury coming out right now. Has the broadsword here on the Courier, so that's double Battle Furies now for Complexity, 2 great farming tools. And you look at the inventory of Leviathan, and what farming tools do they have? Where does their late game come from, aside from Snowball? You got Slardar with a BKB Blink. That's good, but over the next 5, 10, 15 minutes, Complexity are just going to way out farm this fish.
Yep. I'm right. And then you count on Leviathan being able to have tremendous team fight to prevent Complexity from being split apart and not being able to work as a cohesive group quite yet when they won a few more items, but then they're ready to go. So Leviathan now, I don't know if they're going to be able to do a whole lot during this period of time to punish Complexity from farming, but they're going to certainly try here. They smoke up, they head right towards the top.
And, Bloody Nine in great position here with the Nature's guys. Will not break the smoke.
Wow, how convenient they go that way.
Yeah, that was...
Oh, Faceless Void, though, does see the smoke pop, figures it's on the high ground, immediately leaps up, and Bloody Nine's already out of there, so...
Yep, and up in the tree line, Moon Meander, he's blinked way into the nethers of the forest. And I don't think they'll find him. Yep. Well done by Complexity. Bloody Nine in the right place at the right time there.
Yep, certainly so. And he's been moving around a lot. It's not like we've seen a lot of roots this game. Not a lot of overgrowth coming out from the tree, but he's been doing his own thing, keeping the eyes out there, pulling out the living armors. I mean, this tier 1 that they'd almost taken down the top lane the first go-around was already brought all the way back up to full life, and they have to wither it down again. And they're still battling through living armor. Leviathan are really sweating to try to take these towers down, and Bloody Nine's been making it that much harder.
Yeah, looks like they might be able to get the tier 1 in the top. There is a glyph. Maybe Complexity are thinking about a defense, but seems more likely they'll just let her go down and take the time to farm up their cores that much more. Moon Meander, a very aggressive position, has his Vlad's up, and Brewmaster just now completes his.
Tower has fallen.
I guess Leviathan feeling...
Ooh, Moon wants to snipe this courier.
Oh, is that what he's thinking about?
Yeah, but he doesn't. They see it on the way in. They have this very aggressive ward to kind of scout it out, but they pulled the courier all the way back. They have an idea this is happening, and they're going to send them around the long way. Actually, they're putting the courier right towards them on this top lane because they have continued pushing. They go right for the tier 2. Complexity going for their own tier 2 in this mid lane, however, and even Moon's going to get involved in this one. And look at this, Ice Path coming from the other way.
Yeah.
It's like
not too often you see that.
Yeah.
We'll connect on quite a few heroes. Both sides will use their glyph, and it looks like it will just be a tower for tower exchange. No, Complexity lose theirs. Won't be able to get one of their own. So, all right, Leviathan do TP back, but they get the tower trade they wanted. Great news for the Dire.
I like that Leviathan. They tried to TP back their Disruptor first, given that he does have the glimpse, and level 4 glimpse of that is huge range that maybe he can catch someone on the way out, but ultimately they're not going to get so lucky. It is going to be almost a tower for a tower. That mid-tier 2 brought very, very low, but not taken apart all the way. So Leviathan do get a bit extra gold there, but it's still Complexity that have the higher advantage as far as farm, going towards that 5K mark now. Can't help but feel like Complexity do have a much more significant late game, so only the longer this goes, the more troublesome it could be for Leviathan.
Yeah, you know, 23 minutes in, they're just not upset about their Tier 1 towers. It's not worth it to force a team fight when they're not ready, when they know there's no hurry, and the more time they wait, or the more time they have, the easier it's going to be to hold the high ground. Tier 2 towers, they can make a defense, but holding that high ground, that's where Ember Spirit really shines, and at this point, he'll have his second Battle Fury or his Daedalus by the time Leviathan look to break high ground. At that point, they just don't have a tool to deal with that. BKB on Slardar is great, but that's not going to stop the Sleight of Fist from clearing up your creeps, cleaving all over your stupid fish face.
Yep.
And even Bat Rider, still another great hero in that scenario. If you can grab one of the carries, that'll quell your push pretty damn fast.
Shibi gets a hold of an Invis, which he quickly bottles up. Limp, though, has a gem and has already been dewarding. He got rid of that very aggressive ward on their side, and now he's just kind of scouting it about, seeing if there's any rune wards in the area, and just kind of taking away all that map vision from Leviathan, making their...
They're going to find Shredder here. Will they be able to interrupt him before he can blink? They will. Slithering Crush on 2. Swindle will lose some of his armor. BKB comes out, and Shredder will survive. They don't want to commit for it, but that's your 9-second BKB right there, used defensively. Uh-oh, Chrono on Swindle, the minus armor enough to keep Jenkins doing a lot of damage. Slardar's there, takes the last hit with the Crush. But Bloody Nine, Moon Meander, and the Skywrath are all here. They get vengeance on Shredder. Down goes Jenkins, and they trade their carry for 2 cores of Leviathan.
Huge, immediate turnaround from Complexity. The way they congregated and beelined it there to kind of get what they could on the way out, it's very, very good. Very great trade right there, and because Shredder used that stun at the end, get that kill, he didn't have it there to try to make an effort to kind of get out, but ultimately it wasn't going to matter. Just so much burst coming out. Complexity, man, you take one of ours, we'll take 2 of yours.
Yeah, it seems like every trade, they're just right there with some way to make it a little more efficient, whether it's an extra hero, getting a tower out of it. They're just on the up and up. You look at the graph, they've never really been behind this game, and now it's about 5,000 gold, nearly 10,000 experience in their favor. As Moon continues to farm like a madman, he's got a Yasha on the way out here. Soon to be an upgraded Manta. Nushum, he'll get scouted out. Limp finds and grabs him with the lasso. And, well, Fire going to melt the ice this time, Dakota, as Moon Meander finishes off the tower and lets Bat Rider have his dinner.
And it looks like they're going to scout out. The Roche is up and at the ready. If Complexity want to do it, they do have the Bat Rider on their side. Bat Rider being one of the best, if not the best heroes in the game. To put up contention towards that Roche pit, Complexity should feel confident about this one. But at the same time, Leviathan, they can still make a lot out of a choke point like that with your Chrono, of course, with your Static Storm, and now your Disruptor has a Blink Dagger, so Sunken, who's being the less greedy, or more greedy of the 2 supports, he's going to go right for an Agnum Scepter on a Disruptor. It's like an AoE Doom, so even if your AM, even if your Swindle Melons is able to throw together something like a BKB or something to be as elusive as they want.
He actually stopped off with the Blink Dagger.
He can get them, but yeah, he stopped off with the Blink Dagger along the way.
Okay, yeah, he could be pretty close to an Ags, but that's a pretty big detour for a Disruptor like this.
I think they favor him being able to initiate, getting a good catch with something like Glimpse that he might normally be just a hair out of range for, and being able to set up that most ideal Static Storm into like something like a Chronosphere. They don't want any sort of delays. They want him to be right there, getting the most out of the timing.
Well, with that, Leviathan move right into the Roche pit. Complexity seem skeptical. Limp, maybe he can snatch an Aegis. He'll have to go in like right now if he wants to go for it. Flame Break, he hops in, and Slardar grabs the Aegis first, but it's a close call and a very noble effort.
Just a hair too late.
That
Flame Break came in just a little. There we go. Glimpse all the way back. He's silenced from Static Storm. Now your Bat Rider has to pay. What do you think you're doing trying to take our Aegis, you son of a bitch?
Yeah, they punish him all right. Top tier 2 tower. It gets a little dustin', but Complexity do get repelled. So Leviathan, they strike back, and Bloody Nine. Look, I feel like this guy's just warding it up this game. He's just walking around, using those branches, and giving some good intel. Looking at the Radiant Vision here, just being a nuisance, you know? I feel like Leviathan haven't seen this tree for like the past 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen much of the tree, but you know what? That's some of the best support you could ask for. Someone who's getting a lot done. He's bringing a lot of intel. He has gone down twice, but overall, it's just he's doing his job. And it's not like we've seen huge overgrowths this game, but
he's just abusing their lack of detection. They've got nothing right now. No dust, no sentries, no gem, and Bloody Nine knows it. I mean, he's just feeling safe, and I think until they punish him, he's just going to keep doing it.
If he does show himself, though, around this Shredder, then he'll run into trouble. I mean, he's got the amplified damage, and there's really not a whole lot that Bloody Nine would be able to do to get away. It's not like he has his own Blink Dagger, and Shredder would be able to catch up with him. So as long as he stays under the shadows of the tree, then we should be fine. But you're right. There's not a lot of sentries. It's not like Leviathan have really shown the need to kind of put up defensive sentries, but maybe now they need to consider it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a consideration. Maybe they just think Bloody Nine's farming this whole time, and this tree's working on a radiance or something. But
I don't know, but like once Moon Meander pulls together so much on this anti-mage, it's just gonna be a handful for him. He's got the Yasha now.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, and the net worth just the gap keeps growing. I mean, what's slowing down Moon at this point?
The lack of vision and anything to eat. I mean, look at he's got double wrapped face right now. No, nothing for me.
How did he eat like that? I don't know.
He eats mana.
Yeah. Well,
bit of a pause here. A little bit of lag. It looks like coming out from the side of Complexity
having a
at
Skype issue. It looks like
they're gonna get it resolved. Let's get a hold of Mumble or Ventrilo if that's the case, gentlemen.
The Mumbler. Let's
something like that. But
I hear
this is only game number 1 of possible best of 3 today. I assume because we started this game a little bit early, there might be a small intermission before a second series. Do you know exactly when that starts?
That's a good question.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, of course, but just so our viewers at home can know exactly when our next series between Navi US taking on Not Today, when that's going to be starting.
Looks like it's scheduled for 7:30 p.m. on the East Coast. That is 4:30 here. We're going to have a good break. Even if this goes the stretch 3 games, we're going to have
there'll be a small, nice intermission.
An hour.
I'm sure they'll be able to find what they want. There's a lot of Dota happening today.
Yeah. But, sorry for those of you that came in. I saw a bunch of people in chat that was like, "Oh, this started early. What the hell?" Sorry about that. The teams agreed to it, and I guess it wasn't really updated on most of the match tickers. So it was a pretty recent development.
Yeah,
I think it was last night.
Last night, the manager, specifically from Leviathan, requested if we could start a bit earlier, which we're like, that's fine as long as Complexity agree to it. They do. So because they put in at least a fair notice of a day before, that we obliged. And we're starting a bit early. Maybe a fault on our part to not put out the heads-up notice that we're starting a bit early. But regardless,
those damn match tickers.
More Dota, the better, I say. And we are going to still get our playoffs. We are going to still get our big games. Lots of Dota to come here. As this first of best of 3 here, looking like a reasonable start. Jump in on the mid lane, but nope. It's going to be just in the nick of time for Snool to get out the elusive group Complexity. Yeah. As long as they can stay elusive, find their farm, they should be able to pull this out in the late game. But Leviathan, if they do get their pick-off, if they catch up on anyone.
They're thinking about Nushi up top here.
Big damage.
That Nature's Guy's doing some work. They could Overgrowth Mystic Flare this bad boy.
That'd be an easy takedown. He's 815 life, and if they were there one more second, he would have just crossed their path perfectly. But
Bloody Nine just hiding in the trees here.
I see you, Iceman. I see you. I'm going to get you.
Getting some good intel here. Dire getting Observer Ward down in their jungle, so Shredder feels a little more safe just farming away. I think they're trying to make space for the Slardar so that he can kind of, I don't want to say recover farm, but it's just, oh wow, he does get a Mask of Madness.
That's Mask of Madness and Sprint together potentially. Oof, that's a glass cannon Slardar.
Yeah, I've
never seen one. He's just like, I'm hoping to get a hold of one person, maybe that one opportunity we get a hold of that pesky Moon Meander, and I'm going to make the most of it. And rip them apart.
I guess it stacks additively. That's 45% extra damage that you take if you have both of them turned on. That's a pretty big damage buff. That's like a baby Bloodseeker right there, you know? I mean,
you better be using this Mask of Madness smart.
Yeah, I mean, if he the scary thing is if he goes BKB,
he does
feels
both
safe.
Wrong and he eats like a Mystic Flare.
Yeah, or if he just BKBs like, all right, I'm gonna go ham on this guy, Mask of Madness. It just takes the Bat Rider right there with a lasso to lock you in place and. You know, even if you're BKB, there's still some clicks coming your way, and Anti-Mage will be okay with that. Yeah, this feels very risky. So Shredder, I hope you have a plan here, sir, because this is a dice roll if I've ever seen one.
You better think of a plan now. Moon Meander and your limp Bat Rider on the way. That Bat Rider to do big damage through a BKB. He's going to make it just in time. Blink forward, lasso. Moon Meander pops his Manta. The right clicks are going to be coming in. Can Shredder make his way out? He pulls out the Sprint. Mana Void. Your Aegis is going to be claimed. Now for the second life. Just a decent little flame break. A nice little Ice Blast zoning about, but regardless, Complexity, they get their objective. They take down the Aegis. And for the second time now, Leviathan aren't going to be able to put that Aegis into a situation where they would like. Where they would like to be able to make a big push happen and allow Slaughter to get more aggressive. They can't do it now.
Some space creation indeed. Some more Nature's Guys. They find Shibby. Do they go for it is the question. And no. Overhyped that anti-play quite a bit there. Sorry about that one.
All right, it's okay, LD.
All right. Learning from the best. Wow.
Wow, what a gank.
tweet me. You know, LD, speaking of LD, he told me he did tweet at Jenkins. Tweet me, please, on Lonely. He said he did send him a hello, friend, or...
Best of luck with you.
Whoa, here we go!
Faceless Void, welcome to my Mystic Flare. It only takes 2 supports, mind you, from Complexity to take out the core Faceless Void.
That is pretty scary. Basically, every minute they can do that. Whenever Overgrowth is up, they can just Nature's Guys, move around, and they're feeling good. They've got the gem, and still no detection for the Dire. I honestly don't know what they're waiting for. They have Dust on Shredder now, but it's not going to stop you from that. If they find you and I mean, what are you going to preemptively dust when you go into the Ancients? Yeah. I mean, that just... Of all the detection choices, that one doesn't seem like it's going to help deal with this issue so much.
He lobs out the Ice Blast towards that bottom lane, but it's not even going to connect there on Moon. Continues to farm it up, man. He's got 2k gold here, but they're making a go here. Bloody Knight might be in trouble, and they will get a hold of this pesky tree. Yeah. They do commit a little bit for it, but it's just a tree.
Just a tree. I feel like Shredder's just a hard counter to trees in general with a name like that. Just stay away from the Shredder tree.
Lumberjack would probably be more of a counter name.
The Lumberjack. I await the day when we have a Dota player that goes by the name of Lumberjack. Here we go. Swindle Melons caught inside of the Chronosphere. Jenkins hitting him with the Wrath of Time. Oh, Swindle almost makes it out, but the kinetic field's there. Static Storm and expires. He lives right before the Ice Blast can come out. That would have been a shatter.
2 ultimates, 3 ultimates if you count that Ice Blast to try to take down Swindle, and he still makes it out. Man, that's where I can't help but feel like Leviathan, just the team fight synergy is not quite together. They're counting on being able to put layers on each other with a Chrono then a Static Storm, but that's about as good as it gets, and you can't even take down a Swindle Melon's Ember with both of those together. It's got to be a bit devastating morally.
Yeah, definitely. This is starting to get a little bit out of control. It's only 16 to 14, but about a 10,000 gold, 12,000 experience lead for Complexity, and the gap just keeps on growing. Anti-Mage now has a Plate Mail. Wonder if that'll be a probably an Assault Cuirass, but an interesting item pickup there. There is a full AC up on Leviathan, on the Brewmaster. So
maybe he's like, I'm not going to go for something standard like a BKB. Maybe he already sees Disruptors throwing together something like an Agnums, and he's like, I just got to bank on the fact that eventually he'll get that Agnums. My
not
BKB
won't be,
won't be a good BKB, so I'll just build up sustain and durability elsewhere with armor.
I mean, I think it makes sense. You've got Slardar. That's the best way to deal with him and his minus armor shenanigans.
Exactly.
And plus, most of what he does goes right through BKB. Chronosphere, Void throwing the right clicks. He'll get a BKB of his own. And Anti-Mage is... all right, you're going to have to take over here, Dakota. I'm getting an important phone call.
That's fine. I do have to say, though, it's interesting that Shibby hasn't really been able to do a whole lot this game, unfortunately. As his Brewmaster, typically you expect a lot of mid-game presence out of your Brew, being able to have a lot to contribute in the mid-game and probably taking down those cores, picking out supports and being able to move on, but ultimately he hasn't been there, unfortunately. So we'll have to see if it's going to be working out for him. As it stands, they're going to continue farming it about. You got your Faceless Void right here. Jenkins, he's working in the jungle, making it happen. Find that little bit extra farm because Leviathan can't help but feel like their cores need to be able to match par with where Complexity is, and now you're seeing Moon Meander, he completes that AC. Now your amp damage is not going to be nearly as effective as it should be.
Yes, thank you for that, good sir. And yeah, now Assault Cross completed, so Aura Boys here on this Anti-Mage, interesting. Yeah, we're good. So, I think slowing down a little bit. Again, I feel like the onus is on Leviathan now. They need to make some plays happen. Maybe they're waiting out for third Roche. That seems to be their kind of pocket strat this game.
But the thing is Complexity are a team that love to wait. We've seen them take up to like a 40k gold lead before they're like, okay guys, let's end it, and we'll go. And right now I can't help but feel like they're in full control. They know that they have the late game. Hey, if we get the time to farm, we'll take the time. If Leviathan want to push the pace, we'll look for the right counter opportunity, and then win an advantage in a team fight like that, then we'll push on forward. But for now, we have the time to farm. Moon Meander's AM is going to find all the farm he could ask for, and then Swindle Melons as well, and his Ember Spirit. These are 2 late gamers that can definitely bring a bigger impact than anything Leviathan.
Down bottom, Limp finds Shredder. El Lasso, BKB comes out, but Shredder may still go down. Jenkins with the Chrono Static. Can they find the kills? All right, they lose their Slardar, get Limp right away. Moon Man in the middle of the fray goes down from the Ancient Apparition. Bloody Nine gets chopped through. And it's a big team fight for Leviathan, one they desperately needed. A 1-for-3 trade with a beautiful chrono from Jenkins.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Sunken able to get right in there quicker with the Blink Dagger, sets up a beautiful Static Storm, and man, that Faceless Void showed up just in time. Unfortunately, it's not enough to save Slardar. He can't make his way out from the death bubble, but they get a big return with it. They take down Moon. They take down Bloody Nine, and they also get the Bat Rider. So they come out really big with that one. Your Sunken Disruptor picks up his next component. Actually completes the Agnum Scepter. This is big for a Disruptor. Static Storm doesn't have the biggest cooldown. It's about 85 seconds. But now you're talking about an AoE Doom. No items are going to be used inside that Static Storm as long as it's still another great setup with your Chronosphere. At the conclusion of that Chrono, you're still going to have a Complexity squad they're going to be trapped in without much to work with. So now, Leviathan, it's all about execution, man, if they want to be able to come out on top.
Yeah, I think so. And seeing that team fight shows they have a sign of life, but it still doesn't cure the underlying problem here. If they're just getting out-farmed and they have no way to deal with it. They can't invade the jungle and stop it. They still don't really have map control. The gem... Oh, it was traded in that last fight. Oh, wow, okay. So now there's 2 gems on the side of Leviathan. All right, never mind. Maybe they can get some map control back now. Maybe that was the fight that will begin the turning of the tides here. Coddle Guide. 10,000 golden experience is not insurmountable, but they're going to need a few more of those to
Swindle's
really
making a big investment here, and it looks like he's going straight for the Daedalus. He might have completed it in one fell swoop, I believe, as he already has the crit on the bird, along with the recipe, and as long as he gets the Demon Edge, which he's very, very close to, now you have crit damage coming out from your Ember Sleight of Fists. Or if he just wants to use it to accelerate his farm with the Sleight of Fist regardless, we'll have to see. But Leviathan, though, smoked up. They're on the run through. They see the Manta illusions, but those illusions, of course, are not going to pop the smoke. It's Sunken, blinking forward here, trying to get a hold of Bat, but can't quite get the vision to glimpse him out. Leviathan going to miss that opportunity. Oh, a commitment forward from Jenkins. He's not going to blow up the blind Chrono, which is probably for the better, but he does get himself stuck in the trees.
Yeah, he's in this kind of awkward spot where
guys,
hoping to catch someone.
I've gone too far. I got splinters.
Can't quite do it.
Get me out.
Observer Ward comes down the mid. Okay, Nushi just going to back. He's working on Aghanim Scepter as well, and only about 1,500 gold away. But hey, Chrono on 3 in the mid lane. Ice Blast will fly through.
Static.
Oh,
be there right on top
of Swindle's
head.
It's a quick 3-for-0 pickoff from Leviathan again with the jump. It's like they've got this momentum. It was a morale boost, and now they're starting to take control of this game. They get a huge net worth change out of that. And maybe even a tier 2 tower. How's the Roche Timer looking? A very long Roche respawn, but he's going to come up here. And this could be a huge opportunity for Leviathan. If they get a tier 2 tower and cheese, whew.
The Chrono Static Storm, I feel, is like the best thing that Leviathan got as far as real team fight. But when it works really, really well. Now, if it doesn't work, then they're stuck in a rut of just kind of trying to make the best out of being able to just right-click with their melee heroes. But so far, Leviathan have found a couple of sweet team fights with it, and they're looking to make the best of it. Now, since Swindle did just purchase that Daedalus, he has no buyback, mind you, for about 35 seconds, and Leviathan are about to claim a tier 3 tower. So Moon is split pushing the top lane, trying to get a tier 3 himself. He will get a tier 3 himself. Leviathan are not sending anyone back. They are bull rushing forward, trying to go for the first set of the racks.
There is a Radiant Glyph here. Bloody Nine comes in, ult on quite a few as they try to make the retreat. Limp looking for a lasso, but Primal Split comes out. They will punish Bloody Nine. Moon Meander has been sent back. He TP'd home. They get the kill on Limp, and it's Complexity not coming out ahead on this one. It will be Leviathan getting 1 barracks. Wow. Melee have gone down. Radiant Glyph's already been used. It will be a lane of barracks in exchange for none.
Leviathan, man, they strike first in the base off that big team engagement mid lane, and, you know, Complexity should have known that Leviathan were nearby. They narrowly escaped prior when the Bat Rider made his way out from Sunken. But they still kind of danced in the area and allowed Leviathan to catch him out in that mid lane. And since Swindle made that big item investment, he couldn't return for a bit of defense. And they do lose their mid-center racks, though I don't think they're too worried about this. They still have lots of wave clearing, lots of farm potential to push back that with your Swindle wave. And, of course, with Moon Meander being able to farm it up with his Battle Fury. But Leviathan are making the best of it. They take down this mid-center racks. They move beautifully back. They get a hold of Roche, and now they have the Aegis. For the 3rd time this game, Shredder will take it, but this time, will he lose it again, or will he be able to use it offensively?
Now that is the ultimate question.
Yeah.
Cheese has gone the way of the Brewmaster. 22-17, the gold lead, pretty insignificant now, 5,000 as Leviathan get control, and it seems like Complexity just
they keep farming.
Got a little too complacent. Yeah, sometimes farming can bite you in the ass.
They're not like, okay, let's go for objective gaming. They're just like, we're just going to keep farming. We're going to farm, split push here, move a little over there, and eventually we'll have enough funds that we're sitting on that our ammunition alone will carry us through the game. But I hope that might have been a small wake-up call for Complexity, that if you get caught out and you were midst in item investments, like you're out of the game. And you won't be there for the defense, and you're going to be leaving more pressure on your secondary core to try to help defend.
Certainly not over yet. Now we have a game on our hands. It looked like Complexity might be able just to walk on through with their superior farm and take this easily in the late game, but now Leviathan striking back here at the 40-minute mark. It's really evened out. We'll see some tower exchanging. That'll be the end of the outer towers, and one more tier 2 standing. But outside of that, it's just tier 3s, baby.
MKB.
Now an MKB on Slardar.
Maybe he's anticipating the butterfly could be coming up here on Moon's anti-mage, or maybe even, you know, Swindle Melons, but he'll have that true strike damage kind of at the ready in case that's that's something that happens. I mean,
it's
MKB,
also just a great damage item.
Yeah, an additional mini bash as well on top of the bash that Slardar already has. I mean, why not, right? So
yeah, huge
right-click damage starting to come together here for Slardar. You know, we'll have to see how his tankiness will be to back that up. He did get this BKB relatively early, and he's only down to, what, 7 seconds now?
Mask of Madness, Monkey King Bar. That is a pretty squishy Slardar relative to other ways that you can build him. Yeah, well, I'm curious what he'll go for when this Aegis is down, what that kind of final slot will be.
But they can take the base so quick. I mean, your Brewmaster, I mean, Shibby, he's gone full utility build here. You know, he's got the Vlads, he's already had the AC. Has 3.3k here. I'm so curious to see what he throws together, but with that AC...
Hex might make some sense here.
Hex would be nice to have if you are able to take advantage of the situation when they get that big catch-off with the Static. Oh, here we go, and this is it! Static Storm's going to be around Moon! He's not going to be able to get away! He goes down! 90 seconds, he does have buyback, but that Agnums, you're not going to be able to Manta, you're not going to be able to BKB, you're not going to be able to do anything under that dark cloud of death.
That's the perfect term for it here, and even this Ancient Apparition has an Aghanim Scepter now, so there's just so much kill potential. These supports have finally come online. Limp gets off the Force Staff just in the nick of time, and he will live, but needs to be a little careful here. Shredder, he's the one that needs to be careful. He just got destroyed. Yeah, that hurts. Now Moon Meander comes in, BKB on, going blow for blow with Shredder. Shredder not winning this duel, but he's got team support. Ultimate for Moon Meander, not going to secure the kill. Shredder will live. And now the Overgrowth comes out, still all 5 alive on the Dire. Nusham eats the cheese to live, but still standing his ground. Looks like he will fall. Shibby goes back into brew form, and it will just be a 1-0. Leviathan lose their cheese and a support, but Moon Meander actually shatters in the well. Oh,
Moon Meander goes down. That's a dieback.
That's a dieback.
He's 100 seconds dead. Leviathan should know this, but they're making it go on Sunken. They got the Ancient Seal up, a little bit of burst, but here's Jenkins. Where has he been? He now shows up. He's got the Chrono out. He's trying to take down Z-Freak in exchange, but Z-Freak lives. He goes Scepters, gets living armor, turns the corner, and gets away. Now Jenkins, who was late, now has to try to make his own retreat out in a way, whereas...
Shibby.
Oh, Leviathan.
Oh, Shibby! Oh. He just crits down the Bat Rider. Now Moon Meander, or pardon me, Swindle Mountain's coming in onto Shibby. He's going to be forced to retreat as well. This Brewmaster is rock solid. He blinks forward, he crits him, and he brings it down. It's a triple kill for Shibby. And it's Leviathan that come out ahead once more, but where do they go here?
Swindle could buy back if needed, but where are they going? Z-Freak has to run all the way back, and that's enough. I mean, there's not a lot that Leviathan could do to push because they're all so wounded from battle, but Shibby walks over a gem and is like, forget the gem.
He has one already.
I know. I mean, hide yours and take that one. I don't know what to do, but he's still floating around this mid lane, and I can't help but feel like if Leviathan were together as a unit during that whole mid lane tussle, that they could have really taken advantage of the moment that Moon Meander went down. But now he's only got 30 more seconds to come back, and...
yeah, it was kind of an awkward engagement from Leviathan. I'm not sure where the Void was. I wasn't really keeping track of Jenkins when that fight broke out, but nowhere to be found. And a Chrono earlier on maybe could have made it different, but up top, Z-Freak using the Ghost Scepter. Slithering Crush will not be successful. Shredder, okay, he lives to the Mystic Flare, uses the BKB, and ouch.
And Shibby's been dishing out some serious crits.
There's an Abyssal on this Brewmaster, by the way.
So that's what he's going for mid-lane. Chrono, they catch out Swindle. Can they take him down? Sunken was caught. Can he get the stacks from off? He doesn't even need it. They burst down Swindle. Now it's a dieback for Swindle.
Oh my gosh.
He's out for over 100 seconds. It's all on Moon and the Bat and Bloody 9 to pull out any sort of defenses. Leviathan strut themselves to this bottom lane, and they're going to go for another set of racks.
This is so scary. Radiant do have a glyph here.
They didn't even use Static Storm too.
Yeah, they have a buyback on the Skywrath, which they might need to burn. Chrono will be down for another minute, so they have at least that, but there's a Brew split. This will not be an easy hold.
No, it won't. Even if Batrider makes a jump in, Disruptor is there with Glimpse. If Moon tries to fight, he's there with Static Storm. As long as Sunken has good positioning, I say that he jumps on forward like he wants to make a pick off hand.
The Batrider gets hit by Ice Blast. He won't be able to blink for another 10 seconds. This is actually huge from Nusham.
Leviathan got the second set of racks of this game, the first game of a best of 3. Mind you, Leviathan, the underdogs in this one, a team that fought their way through the qualifier to now make it into the playoffs, and Complexity chose Leviathan as their first round opponent. Now it's going to be Faceless Void. He's got shackled up inside the base, and they take advantage of him. Shredder chases after him. BKB pops Static Storm on the ground, but it's not going to catch a whole lot, but they are able to take down at least Bloody 9 in exchange. They want more. They want Moon. They move forward. Moon's going to be forced forward, and he's able to blink into the base and get away from this one. Limp now caught into the kinetic field. They can't add the extra presence of damage. They want more objective gaming. They move right from the last set of racks to Tier 3. Now under pressure. The glyph has to be called out now. Swindle is still out for 20 seconds before your Ember Spirit can be here for any sort of defense. They get to Tier 3. Moon jumps in. He wants to take their shooting. Big Man of Void. He takes out 2. Now Shredder on the retreat. Can they stop him? Limp is right there. They're going to try to slow him down, but Moon is not going to let up whatsoever. Your Shredder might as well call it quits. Pulls out the sprint. Nice time stun. Now he's got to keep on running, however.
Live. He has a blink.
Blink to the low ground and get away from this one. Moon still wants to, though. He's going to chase.
How deep will he go? He'll have another blink in about 5 seconds. Maybe Shredder. He jukes him. He goes right. Moon goes mid. Maybe Moon just wants to counter push with 3 dead, but he lets the Slardar get away.
How did it get to this? Complexity, I felt maybe very confident in their farm, being able to build in a lot of items and just kind of move themselves into an easy situation. But Leviathan show like, hey, if you guys aren't there with each other, we'll take advantage. We'll take out one of your cores and a couple of support, and there's really nothing you could do as far as defense. And I was really questioning Leviathan's draft here as far as how they're going to work as a cohesive unit in a team fight, but they just go to show that what they got is more than enough to really hinder Complexity, and now they're up 2 sets of racks to nothing. I mean, Complexity have got a Tier 3 down.
Yeah, absolutely. It was all about the movements from Leviathan in that mid game, the tail end of the mid game in particular. That's when they really just hit their stride, started using the Chrono on top of the Static Storm. Basically, when the Aghanims on the Disruptor came out, that seemed to be the moment this game changed, and they just took team fight after team fight after team fight, clawed their way back in it, and then a couple of failed buybacks just really costing Complexity. Now we'll see initiation up top. Shredder gets jumped on, but hey, there's Jenkins with the Chrono. It's Limp who's taking a lot of damage.
Static Storm dropped. It doesn't quite get it Limp, but it's more than enough to get the other 2. And man, it was a great counter initiation. They pulled out the Bat Rider jump, but Jenkins is right there, and now Bloody 9 is going to be the 3rd to fall. And I think it works out very nicely. It's simply Jenkins waiting for them to make the jump on Shredder, and he just jumps in. It's like, hey guys, how's it going? And even if he gets Shredder with the Chrono, it doesn't matter. The supports come on through, and they allow for an easy cleanup.
Yeah, and just furthering this lead at this point. Now Leviathan probably up to about 8,000 or so following this one once this graph updates. But Complexity still have those farming tools, so Leviathan really can't get complacent. Even though they're 2 lanes of barracks up, I think they should try to end this one sooner rather than later before their supports kind of fall off. And while they can continue to put the pressure on, Leviathan just seemed to have Complexity's number. Complexity stomped their way through the group stage, and as you mentioned, Leviathan was the one team that upset Complexity, the only loss they had in the groups, and at least game 1 looks like it very well may go the way of Leviathan. They find Swindle! There's the Abyssal! Not enough damage to bring him down.
He jumps and he clips him all the way back! And he rims him back out. Oh my god. Oh, back and forth we go. If that was a takedown, that would have been huge. I mean, Swindle still doesn't have a buyback, mind you. He needs another, like, 2 minutes, 800 gold till he would have had it. Oh, that would have been devastating. Close call there. Sunken with the blink glimpse there. Almost managed to get him. He did not have Static Storm. If he would have had Static Storm, it would have been a guaranteed death, but close nonetheless. Swindle, man. Woo! He makes his way out. What a slippery man.
Yeah, Leviathan hoping for 4th Roche here. 3rd and 4th Roche, both very long respawns, though not really in the favor of Leviathan. They have this window here while the fortification is down, and they might be able to take out Roche and hit a very small timing where Fort will still not be available, but seems unlikely. So they'll have to deal with that, and we'll make the Complexity defense a little easier. They'll find a Swindle illusion there, compliments of his unorthodox Manta style.
Shibby pops his invis to hit that. So here we go, though. Complexity going on the offensive. They smoke up. They're going right into the jungle where that illusion did scout him out. Limp going to the high ground. Oh, this is a good grab. Disruptor. If they can take him out, it's huge for Complexity. Mystic Flare. Sunken does go down, but they get a nice Chrono on 3. Can they make the best of it, though? Oh, they manhandle and quickly take down the 3 backliners. Moon Meander's going to get caught out and bursted down. He's out.
That's game,
100 seconds. No buyback. Did he just make a big investment? He did. Or something.
He bought the Basher and then just hadn't had time to farm.
Oh man, he goes into a fight where if he loses, he's not coming back. And now Leviathan, He can go for an easy last set of racks, and it's only Swindle and the Tree to defend.
Bat Rider
just won.
No buybacks available whatsoever. All three of them are down. Now they go right in onto Swindle. Gets crit, gets glimpsed, and he will come right back. He'll make it back to the well.
Sunken has Static Storm. If he blinks, oh, it's over. It's over. They catch him. Static Storm's going to be there. He goes down. No buyback. Leviathan are going to take the first game of this best-of-3 series. Oh, man. Oh, man.
All right. Well, what a series. If there was one that could have been predicted as a 2-0, at least on paper, it seemed like Complexity might be able to do it, but we've got a real series on our hands now, Coddle Guy, and we're going to go into game 2. Complexity still the favorites in this series, but Leviathan just looking so strong. They remind me a little bit of PGG's team, just a pinch, the Moscow 5, but a little more controlled. Not quite as crazy, but that same, they just do stuff you don't really expect. It seemed like going into that late game, what's the plan, how are they going to outfarm Complexity, and they just flipped the switch.
Yeah, a little bit of that Moscow 5 unorthodox. They got a little of that Goblak, like fancy draft style to them.
They're just that ultimate wild card. How do you deal with them?
I don't know. I mean, I look at their drafts like that, and I'm like, wow, I don't see how it's going to work out. But
3 melees around a chrono, but
it's
then
just so.
They mass MKBs around the minus armor from Slardar. They get 2 MKBs with amp damage, and I mean that on top of the crit from Brew. You saw how much physical damage they're doing at the end of that game. They were getting like 500 crits on the Ember Spirit.
So I can't help but feel like, I mean, it can't be just the draft that was what helped out Leviathan. I think Complexity just kind of, I don't know if they continue to like underestimate Leviathan or just like. It felt like there was a period they're like, we're just going to keep farming.
Yeah,
Swindle
we
farms
got
the
this
top,
in the bag.
I
We'll
farm
play
the bottom,
safe.
you know, we'll pull it out. But once one of those two powerhouses gets caught out from a big fight of Leviathan, it's Leviathan that are able to push on through, and they take down 2 sets of racks immediately, and there's just nothing left for Complexity to do.
Yeah.
They get caught out again, and it's over.
Yeah, and with an anti-mage with the Battle Fury and Ember Spirit, I would say that's like one of your ideal lineups to deal with a lane of racks down, potential mega creeps. You got so much clear, but they just couldn't do it. So, all right, guys, we'll have a break, and then coming up is game number 2 of Leviathan versus Complexity. This is Summit 2 by G2A.com, America Playoffs. We'll be right back.